All right, radicals now invading churches in their quest to destroy this country. Let's check it out. And welcome to Rob Schmitt Tonight. Here in the U.S., we have a law called the FACE Act, which makes it a federal crime to interfere or intimidate Americans as they worship. The FACE Act also goes the other way, making it illegal to harass people as they go into abortion clinics and places like that. In recent years, our DOJ has vigorously prosecuted Americans of faith for disturbing abortion clinics with prayer or protest. Many have been put in jail for years. Take a look at the video. Two old ladies singing in the waiting room of an abortion clinic in Washington, D.C. back in 2020. In 2024, the Biden DOJ sentenced these two little old ladies on the left to 2 and 5 years in prison. Imagine being sentenced to 5 years in prison for singing Christian songs. But of course, anytime a person of God tries to mess with a pillar of secular barbarity like an abortion clinic, the rabid left-wing attorneys at the DOJ go wild. You would expect that, right? The question tonight is, are there any lawyers at the Trump DOJ who can match that same energy going the other way? After the despicable actions that we saw on Sunday in St. Paul, Minnesota, and this video that you've likely seen by now. Every single person who broke into this church and tormented these lovely people as they prayed on a Sunday belongs in prison.
All these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes. You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities? You're sinners. You're pretending to be Christians. But we know you live an easy life, don't you? Living real comfortable while the people starve.
Vile scum. City's Church, the name, became a target on Sunday because the pastor works with ICE. These protesters are the bottom of our society, as you just saw. As the president said, many of them are paid to do this. They contribute nothing to this society. They've accomplished nothing in their lives. They are a total drain on our system. Valueless people who have devoted their lives to destroying our country because they've failed to prosper here. And we've allowed far too much of this kind of nonsense in recent months. The DOJ needs to act on this one. They must act. We need swift prosecution here. The left is bullying this country into self-destruction using illegal immigrant sob stories to manipulate the United States to giving up its sovereignty so that we can be fully destroyed from the inside. And this was a huge part of it. And now they're going into churches and terrorizing people. And this Marxist army realizes our government is mortified of the appearance of stamping out protests, right? That's what the government of the United States has always been terrified of. We don't want to look like we're not a free country, that you don't have the freedom of expression, of speech, and everything else. The Marxists know that, so they continue to go further and further and further in pursuit of their agenda. They use the wonderful parts of our system against us. This is what they do. And they think they are untouchable. And that needs to end. Enough fake outrage over basic immigration laws being enforced in this country. Protecting some of the worst people in our country is what these people are doing at this point, as this ICE agent explained to a group of protesters who were posing as media.
We're here to arrest a child sex offender. And you guys are out here honking.
Oh, they're not. No, we're pressed.
That vehicle right there is honking and impeding our investigations while we're trying to arrest a child sex offender. That's who you guys are protecting. Insane.
Insane. This whole thing is insane. The president earlier today going almost 2 hours in a news conference reminding Americans why ICE is moving into these sanctuary cities.
Apprehending murderers and drug dealers and a lot of bad people. And these are just some of the more recent ones. Vicious, many of them murderers. These are all out of Minnesota, just Minnesota. Boy, these are rough characters. These are all criminal, illegal aliens that, in many cases, they're murderers, they're drug lords, strong-arm rape, aggravated assault with a weapon, and many other crimes.
Think of the optics of a 45-year-old white woman screaming outside in a neighborhood trying to protect a man convicted of strong-arm rape from being deported from this country. Because we're seeing that all the time right now. Neurotic, psychotic, left-wing women are a big part of this problem. They're a huge part of the constituency that's doing this. And if you're protecting these people, you are seriously deranged. And you should be prosecuted if you're actively preventing federal officers from doing their job and making your neighborhood less safe. Or if you're terrorizing Christians at their church and claiming that they're not Christian if they don't support a borderless society. Yes, you should be arrested for that, and it should be a couple of years stint. Failed CNN host Don Lemon, always desperate for attention, knows these guys because he's a radical, psychotic, left-wing lunatic. He was embedded with these people who stormed that church on Sunday. Lemon did his best part to shame the ICE-affiliated pastor. Take a listen.
What do you think of this? I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship.
But there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
okay,
and my
but listen,
family.
we live in there's a Constitution and the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me, though.
Needs to be an investigation into Don Lemon as well. This is far beyond free speech. This is clear harassment, clear intimidation of people as they worship. Lemon then jumped onto the podcast, some random podcast done by the chick that looks like the Crypt Keeper, and verbally assailed everyone at the church that he was reporting on. Take a listen.
They're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country.
That is one of those white evangelical churches. These are the don't tread on me folks. These are the people who feel like America is for Americans and American only. These are white nationalists.
Yeah. Don Lemon on with a white lady that hates white people. That tracks. Two people that hate white people. By the way, Don Lemon, for the record, lives in maybe the whitest neighborhood in all of New York. Food for thought. Singer Nicki Minaj is a Christian, made a lot of news lately, was enraged by Don Lemon's stunt, writing, "Don Lemon is disgusting. How dare you? I want that thug in jail. He would never do that to any other religion." And she's got a great point about that. Do you know what Don Lemon said in response to that to Nicki Minaj, a black singer? He called her a racist. The Border Czar Tom Homan joins us tonight. Sir, good to have you back on. No question in my mind, these protesters violated the FACE Act. If we're going to throw old ladies in prison for years for praying and singing at abortion clinics, I think these people belong in prison as well. What are your thoughts?
Well, you're absolutely correct, and the DOJ needs to take this seriously. You know what's really telling is, since January, the whole past year, the left has accused ICE of raiding hospitals, or raiding elementary schools, and raiding churches, and they can't. There's been no incident where we ever raided an elementary school, a hospital, or a church. But look who is raiding a church. It's actually them. So it's very telling that they would accuse us of this and they're the actual ones doing it. Don Lemon, look, his career went down the tubes. He's trying to be relevant. It's really quite pathetic, how he's trying to be relevant and he's not. He's a joke.
Yeah, and I think he committed a crime trying to stay viable and stay relevant in his industry of podcasting. I think it's quite clear. You can't march into a church and start screaming and antagonizing and terrorizing people and calling them not Christian because they don't support a borderless, lawless society. You can't do that. There's a very clear law against it, and look, it's faithfully enforced, by the way.
Yeah, and this whole language about the white, the nationalists, the white this. I can tell you for a fact that I was contacted by 9 black pastors in Chicago, begging ICE to come to Chicago. Yeah. 9. So, you know, the black community supports ICE too, because they realize we're nation laws. Illegal aliens take a lot of services that they're not eligible for, and it hurts the black community. They take away jobs. They take away services. Yeah. So many leaders of the black community support ICE and what we're doing.
Yeah, I think most people actually do. I just think that all of this noise is being manufactured to make people believe that there's broad outrage against just basic immigration laws in this country, and that's not the case. And that's what is so dangerous and so brilliant about what they're doing, is that it is impactful, that it is working. It's working to turn the needle against having immigration law in this country, which is what I think they really want. They want to destabilize the country, and this is a great way to do it. That's the brilliance of this plan. Last week, I want to ask you this question. Axios claimed that the president doesn't like some of the optics of these ICE operations. Is there any truth to that?
No, I met with the president this morning, just before the press conference. I knew it would be one hell of a press conference because he was all fired up. Look, the president is keeping his promise to the American people to run the biggest deportation operation in the history of this nation. We already have record numbers. We already broke every year's record in the past. And look, what the media's not telling you, I know you guys are supporting it. The facts are 70% of everybody arrested is a criminal, either got criminal convictions or pending criminal charges. That's a higher percentage than it was during any other administration, including the Obama administration. So we're going to continue doing what we're doing. As far as the protests of these agitators and these crazy people on the left, what have they achieved? They've achieved nothing, because ICE is they achieved one thing. We're doubling resources in Minnesota. So that's what they achieved, but we're not going to stop doing what we're doing. We're going to be out there tonight. We're going to be out there tomorrow. We're going to be out there every day, taking them bad people off the street. We are not going to stop what we're doing.
The Attorney General in Minnesota, Keith Ellison, who should be under investigation for a couple different reasons, is making it very clear that they are going to go after your agents. Take a listen to this.
I just want to be clear. The state has every right to investigate this matter and prosecute this matter. The state has every right.
What's your reaction to that?
Whatever. I mean, these people, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Federal law is always going to trump state law. So look, we're going to stop doing what we're doing. I tell you, now they want their police officers to arrest ICE.
Yeah.
Look, impeding ICE officers, interfering with ICE officers, it's a felony. And whether you got a badge or not, it's a felony. So look, I wish they would work with us. How can Minnesota fix this? Work with us. Let us in the jail to arrest the public safety threat and the safety and security of a jail. Safer for the agent, safer for the alien, right? Safer for the community.
And
more agents in the jail means less agents in the community.
Yeah.
We're not going to totally leave Minnesota regardless, but more agents in the jail means less agents in the community. And one agent can arrest one public safety threat in the jail, but we got to go community, we got to send the whole team. So we're increasing resources because they're forcing us into that dangerous situation.
They're making it even worse. I have one more thing to show you here. It's 2015. Barack Obama awarded you the Presidential Rank Award for Distinguished Service, highest civil service honor for your leadership in ICE's enforcement and removal operations. That's a picture of you about 10 years ago. You're called a fascist now for doing a job that Barack Obama gave you an award for. Doesn't that tell the whole story?
It absolutely does. I got that award because we had a record number of deportations, 409,000, a record, and we've since broken that record since Trump's been in office. But yeah, I was awarded that for my efficiency on deporting illegal aliens. I mean, the first line of the Washington Post article is Tom Homan deports people. Was really good at it. Now I'm a Nazi, I'm a racist, and I'm just a terrible guy. But I don't care what people are thinking about me. I'm going to keep deporting people.
I didn't know Obama was a fascist Nazi. I had never heard that. So it's an interesting development we just figured out here on today's show. The Borders are Tom Homan. Sir, good to have you on. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you.
We are officially 1 year into Trump's second term. Today, he battled the media for nearly 2 hours over his successes. The Agriculture Secretary, Brooke Rollins, also the founder of the America First Policy Institute, the perfect person to talk to about this. Up next.
A new year brings new threats, and Cyberman's ready for every one of them. While hackers plot their next move, Cyberman's already there, protecting families, businesses, and governments before danger can strike. This year, protect what matters most with easy-to-use, award-winning protection. With PCmatic, you get American-made protection that's faster, smarter, and stronger. Start 2026 with confidence. Visit PCmatic.com today.
Protect your family. Buy LifeVac now.
Thank you, Dad.
That was us over 10 years ago.
Now LifeVac is responsible for saving over 4,000 lives from choking.
In the time it takes you to pick up the phone and call, another life could be saved.
The LifeVac saved my life in 1 to 2 seconds.
Protecting families has always been our mission. I'm sure you love your family like I love my daughter. Do us all a favor and get your own LifeVac now.
Go to lifevac.net or call 877-LifeVac. Order now.
It's about political points.
People deserve better fiscal.
It's terrible. Politics seeps into everything.
What do you mean? Talk about climate change or the economy or, of course, elections.
You can't find out what we should really expect to happen.
But of course you can.
Go to IBKR's Forecast Trader.
Put your money where your mouth is.
As a neurologist, my patients are often concerned with age-related memory decline. I recommend Knowles Brain Health with 2 powerful, high-absorption ingredients clinically shown to improve memory, focus, attention, and more. Knowles, the brand I trust.
When curiosity strikes about the everyday lives of your family, we're here with answers only your ancestors can provide. See their stories at Ancestry.
I would not stop Balance of Nature anyway. There would be no way. I know you wouldn't be able to force me to stop taking it.
Lock in 50% off for 1 year when you subscribe to the Whole Health System.
When Betty and George switched to Consumer Cellular, it saved them a lot. So they started splurging on date night. No, don't you dare. It's an acquired taste. Right now, get your second month free. Call Consumer Cellular.
Here's the book. These are all things we have. I'm going to read a few of the samples, but look at this. These are all, each line is something that we did. Nobody did that before. And it's big stuff, too. Look, we have the hottest country in the world.
There you have it, 1 year down already. Time certainly does fly on this January 20th. As the president says, America is back. The White House has a lot to brag about after 1 year in office. After our country was decimated under Joe Biden, a lot of that has been corrected. Net migration into this country was down in 2025. And even if you're a fan of immigration into this country, and most people are, we needed a pause, right? We needed this to move the other way. American sovereignty has returned, and that's very important to the people that feel the heritage of this country and want to preserve it. We also saw the largest one-year drop in homicides last year as well. These are the indicators that you see when Trump gets back in office, when Republicans have control, and emphasis on law and order. Overdose deaths plummeting to the lowest level in decades. Thousands of people, thousands of lives saved because of a closed border, less drugs coming in. Trump's tariffs slashing the U.S. trade deficit down to its lowest point since 2009. And he did it while keeping inflation in check and growing the forecasted GDP Q4 of 2025 to 5.4% from the Atlanta Fed. Scott Besson said earlier today he believes that number could be 7 or 8%, which seems almost impossible for an established economy. On the MAHA front, a lot of big wins there as well. Administration changing the recommendations for the childhood vaccine schedule. Not as many recommended needles into babies when they're so young, getting it more in line with the European model on this. Companies removing artificial food dyes from their products. Trump lowering drug costs through favored nation status. And we flipped the food pyramid. Real whole food, meat, cheese, vegetables at the top. Important things like that. And down at the bottom, more of the processed stuff and breads and things like that. Ending the war on saturated fats, declaring war on sugar as well. And whole milk is back in schools, reversing that failed Michelle Obama experiment. So I've laid a lot of that out for you. Our Agriculture Secretary, Brooke Rollins, has been there for it all, and she's going to talk more about it. Madam Secretary, good to see you. 1 year in, and you guys got so much to talk about. If you watched only the mainstream media, though, you'd think the country was in a crisis, but actually there's been some serious wins.
It has been a remarkable year, Rob, and I'm so grateful to be on with you, and you guys always do such a good job. You think about 1 year ago today, and we were sitting at the Capitol. The president was getting sworn in. He, obviously gave his remarks. He talked about it, and you mentioned this, the strength and the security and the prosperity and the winning that was going to be on the list for America again. And I believe perhaps in history, there will never be another year like we had this last year, whether it is bringing down inflation, securing the border, solving numerous wars across the world, whether for farmers and making America healthy again, getting real food back into the families' dinner plates, seeing the tax cuts, the largest investment in rural America, 24 new trade deals. I mean, it's just win after win after win. I just couldn't be more proud to be a part of it. I couldn't be more proud to be on President Trump's team. He continues to be resolute and just unequivocal and never sleeping as he works to save our great country. So thank you. It's been a great year.
It's something else. It's amazing. It's already been a year. Is there any indications of the direction that we are headed in the second year?
I think that I love that you talked about what Scott said earlier, Secretary Bessent, talking about all of the things that we have worked in this first year to set the infrastructure, if you will, to bring down inflation and to make America more affordable again, to open up the markets around the world. I mean, Rob, remember, I think I came on your show, actually, the Liberation Day back in April, when the president made the announcement that no longer were we going to abide and bow at the altar of other countries' tariff regimes. Instead, it was going to be America first. When you're in a situation where all of our goods going out of America are charged 15% on average into other countries, but we're only charging 5%, it's no wonder our cities and country has been hollowed out, that our farmers haven't been able to make a good living, manufacturers have closed down, that all of that needed to be reshored. And the world kind of laughed at him, and the mainstream media sort of, lit themselves on fire. Oh, the end of the world's going to happen. And in fact, it's been the opposite. I mean, to hear Scott say just being at 5% GDP is unprecedented in this sort of where we are in modern American history. But to think that we may even go higher than that as we're cutting taxes, as we're getting government off of the back of the average American, it is truly a golden age, and I know that all of America will feel it very soon if they haven't already.
Well, that's what he said this morning, that we're just starting to feel kind of the deregulation, the impact of that, and that's when you can really let the economy just start to unleash, which is it's going to be very interesting to see where this goes, and hopefully we can start feeling. People can feel that at home, so it can help out in the midterms here in about 10 months. The last time we spoke to you, you dove into the SNAP fraud that you were finding. Tremendous amounts of SNAP fraud. The president recently announced that he's going to be cutting off sanctuary cities from federal dollars starting on the 1st of February. Talk about that and just the rich atmosphere that has been created in these left-wing cities and states for fraud, for abuse, for the theft of our money, and the president actually making a move on it. That's a pretty bold move.
It is a hugely bold move, and you think about the courage. It's funny, the 4 years that the president had to endure between term 1 and term 2, I wouldn't even wish on my worst enemy, right? Faced 1,000 years in prison, almost died, assassinated twice. They tried to bankrupt him with a $500 million ridiculous assessment based in New York and across the country. I mean, think what he had to endure. But I will also say, and I think he would agree with this, that what it allowed us to do, which was to reset, to organize, to prepare, to put plans together, to be prepared for a term 2, that would have never happened without that, that pause and that election, frankly, being taken from us. And we do live in the greatest country in the history of the world. There's never been another America. The idea of self-governance still rules the day, at least when President Trump is in charge. But I think one of the things that we have to manage is the fact that we've got to constantly be running for re-election. I say that because up until this moment, we've never really had the time to dig into these government programs. And even the shutdown, the Democrat-led shutdown, really allowed us in a new way to shine a light on a program we run at USDA called the SNAP program, which you mentioned, which 42 million Americans, and that's another conversation. If we should have that many on SNAP, we shouldn't. But the fact that we do, and Biden increased that program 40% in his 4 years, of course, trying to buy re-election for the Democrats. But that has seen the fraud is insane. More coming. We're going to stop funding a lot of it. We're digging in deep. We're suing a lot of the blue states to give us the data, and we're going to be able to turn this ship around.
It's just there is a gigantic scam that sits right beneath the power center of the Democrat Party. There's a whole lot of there's just a lot of fraud. It's just a big scam. It's get as many people onto their dole as they can. That's how they're. I mean, think of where would they be without victimhood and welfare and all of the, I think, main kind of ideologies of their party. It's really something. And to see finally some action being taken, because a lot of people have seen it for a long time. It's good to see that. The Agriculture Secretary, Brooke Rollins, good to see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You too. Thanks so much.
Good to see you. We check in on the globalists in Davos, Switzerland, coming up next with Rebel News journalist Ezra Levant, who actually caught up with Justin Trudeau. You'll have that. Plus, the Daily Wire's Michael Knowles as white liberals drool over the future, a future where their own race goes extinct.
Your data is like a single domino. The moment it's stolen, it starts a chain reaction that puts the information that guards your assets at risk. 1 in 3 Americans have been a victim of identity theft. Are you willing to risk it?
When I saw zeros on that screen as my bank account balance, I went to immediate panic.
$21,000 just gone. I opened my account and $30,000 is missing. Like $30,000. I have no idea what to do.
If your personal information is stolen, are you prepared to pick up the pieces alone? LifeLock is the leader in identity theft protection and restoration.
Once LifeLock got involved, everything changed.
With LifeLock, if your identity is stolen, they'll step in and fix it so you don't have to, guaranteed. Our highly trained U.S.-based restoration specialists contact institutions, dispute fraudulent charges, close compromised accounts, and even procure legal support far beyond the capabilities of your bank or credit card company.
LifeLock pursued this case further than I ever would have imagined.
If you call right now, you'll get LifeLock for just $9.99 a month for your first year. And as extra protection, all LifeLock memberships include the $1 Million Protection Package. Our members receive reimbursement for stolen funds and personal expenses, like lost wages, as well as coverage for lawyers and experts up to $3 million in total.
When the bank refused to reimburse my stolen money, the $1 Million Protection Package came through for me.
Our Restoration Guarantee and $1 Million Protection Package are included in all memberships with no additional fees.
I think it's natural to think that you can do this on your own. You can't. You need an expert in your corner.
Call 1-800-360-9220 and use promo code TV35 or go to lifelock.com/TV35 to join today.
Hi there, I'm Dean Heskin, President and CEO of Swiss America. Most investors believe their IRA, 401k, and bank accounts are reliable and safe. But what if our economy becomes so dire that you're restricted from accessing your own money? The fact is that should your bank be in trouble for holding bad loans, the burden could fall on you to help bail them out. Even more concerning is that U.S. financial regulations allow banks to impose withdrawal limits on your hard-earned savings. But there's something you can do about it. Our team at Swiss America has a report called The Secret War on Cash. Learn how to protect yourself with assets that can remain outside the control of banks and other financial institutions. For over 40 years, Swiss America has been one of the most trusted metal firms in the country. So don't wait. Call or text the number on your screen today for financial peace of mind in these uncertain times.
Here we go again. Everyone wants to know, so here it is.
Melania, rated PG, exclusively in theaters January 30th.
Globalization has failed the West and the United States of America. It's a failed policy. It has left America behind. It has left the American workers behind. And what we are here to say is that America First is a different model. Our workers come first. Sovereignty is your borders. You're entitled to have borders. You should not be dependent for that which is fundamental to your sovereignty on any other nation.
Lutnick is so good, isn't he? And don't you love seeing this every year? Trump is heading there right now, set to hammer the globalists in Davos this week for the World Economic Forum. This is always a great moment every year. The president goes into this place. It's not a friendly atmosphere for him, and he spins some heads. As Axios puts it, Trump heads to Davos more aggressive and ambitious than ever. Our Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, also there, spoke earlier from Switzerland, predicting 7 to 8% U.S. GDP growth in the future. That is an insane prediction. We'll see if it comes true, though, because right now they're cooking really well in the fourth quarter. The predictions are really high. Also taunting the climate freaks by saying drill, baby, drill. Gavin Newsom sitting in the front row as Bessent spoke. CBS reporting Newsom took notes and silently scoffed at some of our Treasury Secretary's comments, as you might expect. Newsom there because he needs a little attention as he tries to run for president. It wouldn't be a true Davos event, though, without Al Gore spewing climate propaganda, of course. The grift has not ended yet for Big Al. He says expect 1 to 2 billion migrants to flood the Western world because of climate change.
The World Health Organization's Climate Committee says that by 2050, we could have 1 to 2 billion climate migrants crossing international borders. It's hard to imagine what a billion climate migrants would do to our capacity for self-governance.
Yeah, it won't be because of climate change. It'll be because of Western white liberals looking to decimate their own society like we've seen in Europe for the past 10 or 15 years and inviting them all over. It's not going to be because of climate change. And one thing we notice every single year when we see this event, what is up with all the private jets? All of these people are so angry about the climate and they can't muster the energy to just do the right thing, at least optically, and not show up on a PJ. It is such a ridiculous event. Video from on the ground from our friends at Rebel News. Nice fleet of jets there. Canadian-based Rebel News founder Ezra Levant also caught up with his country's former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on the streets of Davos, along with his singer girlfriend. Take a listen.
What do you make of the Federal Court of Appeal upholding the ruling that your martial law was illegal? They said you violated... It's good to see you, Ezra.
There you go. And Ezra Levant joins us now. It's a beautiful place you're at, but it's filled with some really ugly people. How is it on the ground, Ezra?
Well, it's fascinating because Donald Trump and the World Economic Forum, that's like oil and water. That's they couldn't be more different. The World Economic Forum is globalist, it's socialist, it's undemocratic. It's very secretive. It's like a crypto government. Now, it doesn't pass laws, but it hatches policy ideas. It comes up with talking points. It's very influential. And then the people here spread out to their home countries and sort of implement it. Remember, we started hearing Build Back Better or the Great Reset suddenly from everyone. They come here to harmonize, but there's none of the checks and balances of a real government, like an opposition party, like a lobbyist registry. Like there's so many things missing here. Trump is a iconoclast. He would smash things like this. So the fact that he's coming here is really exciting to me. He's spoken once before to the World Economic Forum, and he goes right into the dragon's den, the lion's den, and he says, we're not like you. We're for freedom. We're for growth. Watch America soar. I think he's going to do something similar, but this time it's probably going to be a little more geopolitics to it. I got to hear, I got to tell you, there's so much chatter I heard about Greenland, just delegates not knowing what to make of it.
Yeah, well, that's so interesting. And yeah, whether it's Trump there or it's some of his allies, whenever we see them go into Davos, it just makes such great television because they hit them so hard because everything that these people want is just so unnatural and is so bad for the West. But let's talk about Greenland for a second. It is, I mean, you're Canadian, so you're kind of right in the middle of this thing. It's a bizarre story for a lot of different reasons. I mean, I understand what the president is trying to do. I think he's getting hammered by the media on this story. What do you make of this mission from the White House to obtain this huge piece of land?
Listen, if you look at the map or the globe, especially from the north, you can see why it's so critically important, especially if America is going to have some anti-missile technology like the kind we saw Israel use in the 12-day war. If you're having an anti-missile project to defend America against Russian missiles, you need Greenland, and it is 99.99% empty. So it makes sense, but I'm a little bit worried that if Trump, and listen, I'm the most pro-Trump guy in all of Canada, but here's what I'm a little worried about. If Trump comes on too hard, he could push people away. And it would be an opportunistic moment for anti-Americanism in all. It happened in Canada. I mean, we had a conservative party that was set to win a majority government. But when Donald Trump started talking about annexing Canada, that spooked about 1 million low information voters in Canada who maybe took him too literally. And so out of a panic, in an anti-American panic, they rallied around our World Economic Forum Prime Minister now, Trudeau's successor. And I'm worried that if Trump isn't delicate, and I know he's smarter than me, and
I get it.
He pushed France away, pushed Britain away, pushed Germany away, and let the anti-Americans win in those countries. I don't want that to happen.
Right, I know. That's what's so interesting about this conversation. We got to leave it there. But Ezra, thanks for joining us. It's good to see you. We'll see what happens with Greenland. We'll bring you back on. Good to see you, sir. All right, let's bring in Michael Knowles now, host of the Michael Knowles Show. I want to start right where we just left off in Greenland. I understand what the president's trying to do. The tactics, I question. It seems very forceful. He's given a hell of a lot of ammunition to MSNBC. What do you make of it?
Well, President Trump's policy is the policy of the U.S. State Department since the middle of the 19th century. So this notion that Trump is just barging in and upending America's strategic aims is totally ridiculous. And I think his point was apt when he said, look, Denmark says that to defend Greenland, they're going to add another dog sled. That was real, by the way. That was funny, but it was also real. Yeah. And he says that's not enough to deter China and Russia. And so we just need to make sure that we secure Greenland. Trump typically speaks past the sale. This was a point that the late great Scott Adams made frequently. So is he really going to fly in Don Rumsfeld style with F-35s and, drop freedom scenes on Nuke? Probably not. I don't think we're actually expecting that. But is he going to secure Greenland for the United States and make sure that, look, Denmark hasn't had a vibrant government really since Hamlet. And so we as the global hegemon need to take some control here. Yes, I think that is going to happen. And I hope the Danes get on board the easy way rather than the hard way.
And I understand all of that, but I do think there's an interesting point to be made from some of the people that are screaming the loudest about this, which is that this is a big, empty, open country. It's massive. There's only 50,000 people that live there, and anything that we probably wanted out of Greenland, we could probably get. That we could probably just get very easily with a little negotiating and not have to be so forceful. Do you think there's a point to be made there? Is he going too hard on this, or does he have a different motive?
Well, so much of Trump's policy on Europe is to get Europe in line with the United States' goals, but also political reality, which is that since the Second World War, for all intents and purposes, Europe is a series of colonies of the United States. We provide their defense. We like them. We defend their civilization because it is our civilization. But let's do away with the fictions of liberal internationalism and globalism, and let's also try to rein in some of the left-wing impulses in Europe and recognize, listen, guys, we're the big dog here. We defend everybody. We're happy to do it, but you need to pony up more money to NATO. Yeah. You need to not have the cart drag the horse, or cart drag the dog sled in this case. And we need to secure the Arctic for purposes of shipping lanes, for purposes of resources, and for purposes of deterring our shared geopolitical foes.
Yeah, I will say it was funny. It's funny watching the media on this, because the first thing I heard out of Joe Scarborough's mouth this morning is talking about how this is exactly what Putin would want, and this is a Russian play. The whole reason he wants Greenland, Scarborough, is a check on Russia. I mean, that's most of it right there. And then the idea that this is so bad for NATO, nobody, as he says every time, nobody's done more for NATO than him. So it's a lot of their arguments don't make a lot of sense. We'll see what happens with Greenland. Michael Knowles, good to see you.
Good to see you, sir.
Thanks. All right. So, as we just said, the president wants Greenland. Newsmax conducting a poll asking what you think of that plan. Should we take it? What do you think about taking it by force if necessary? We've got a poll, Newsmax poll. Go online, make sure your voice is heard on this one, and we'll let you know the results right there on the screen. All right, it was an incredible night last night in Miami. My Hoosiers are national champions. It's incredible stuff. Indiana's Governor Mike Braun up next, along with Indiana University alum Sage Steele. Stay tuned.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis? With fewer symptoms from moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, where would you go? Imagine being a million miles away. With Tremfya, clearer skin is possible. And for adults with active psoriatic arthritis, Tremfya goes beyond the skin. Less joint pain, stiffness, and swelling is possible. And Tremfya even reduced fatigue. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Ask your doctor about Tremfya.
Hi, Mom. I can't wait for you to hear well again, so I won't have to scream to tell you that I love you.
Now tell me if you can hear this. Hi, Mom.
It's not just your hearing. For us, it's your life. That's why we created the Miracle Ear Way. Our superior expertise is backed by licensed professionals that take the time to get to know you and your needs. Book your free test. Call 1-800-498-7146. Your care is on us. From your first hearing test to free unlimited servicing, cleanings, and checkups. We utilize solutions that transform hearing. It's our way of offering nearly invisible designs to AI technology. Try risk-free. Call 1-800-498-7146. Stay connected to your loved ones. Book now. Call 1-800-498-7146.
Mike Hammond here, founder of Signal Relief. Meet Dr. Beth Dupree, breast cancer surgeon for over 35 years.
In my surgical career, I have treated thousands of patients, and finding effective pain relief has always been a priority. Believe me, I was skeptical, but Signal Relief caught my attention because it actually works. Clinical trials show over 85% of participants felt relief within 72 hours, with nearly half noticing a significant difference in just 15 minutes. Just place it near or above wherever you have the pain, whether it's your back, your shoulder, your neck, or your knee. Signal Relief Patch brings proven relief. I recommend it to my patients, family, and friends, and I get to witness and experience their pain relief firsthand, and that brings a smile to my face.
Join the hundreds of thousands who have experienced relief with the Signal Relief Patch, and it comes with a money-back guarantee. Trust Dr. Dupree and me. The patch works.
My accountant, who uses unsecured email, has all my tax info.
Tax forms have all the personal info thieves need to steal your identity. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points for identity theft. Get a first-year offer at LifeLock.com.
All right, welcome back. As an Indiana alum, over the past month, I have selfishly directed your attention to college football this year, and last night, it all came to an end in probably the best possible way you could imagine. The Hoosiers won it all. You probably know this already. The national title for the first time in program history. Again, I went to this school 20 years ago. It was the worst. I never went to a football game. It was that bad. 27-21 last night. It was a terrifying game to sit there and watch because it was so close and because it meant so much. Miami, the Hurricanes played incredibly well. It was a very good game. It was some fantastic defense from the Hurricanes. The plays of the game, Indiana's star quarterback, our guy Fernando Mendoza, scrambling for a touchdown on 4th and 5 late in the fourth quarter, breaking multiple tackles. I could not believe that the kid got to the end zone. And then late in the fourth, with Miami driving to potentially win the game, IU up 6. Carson Beck picked off by Jamari Sharp on Indiana. An amazing way to end the game with a pick there. IU's quarterback, probably the most lovable kid to ever play the game. Here he was after an incredible win.
That's one thing about our team. We're always going to put all on the line.
And, I want to give all the glory and thanks to God. I had to go airborne, and I'll die for my team. Whatever they need me to do, they need me to take, shots from the front and the back, whatever it is, I'm going to die for my team out there. I was a 2-star recruit coming out of high school. I got declined to walk on offer to the University of Miami. Full circle moment here, playing in Miami. For all the friends and family, I can't thank Coach Nettie enough, and Coach Whitmer, and Coach Anna for taking a chance on me, and just give all the glory to God.
He's such a good kid. Indiana's Governor Mike Braun is back with us. IU alum Sage Steele also back with us. Good to have you both here, and congratulations, I guess, to all of us on what was just an amazing night. And Sage, I want to start with you. What did you think of the game?
I love that you used the word terrifying, Rob, because I've never felt like I wanted to vomit more than I did the entire game, especially that last drive. Miami is dinking and dunking down the field. I mean, I had my head in my hands. 30 years as a sportscaster, and I've never felt like this. And Governor Braun, I know that you felt the same way there, just hanging on for dear life and literally, come on, God, praying. But to see hundreds, maybe thousands of grown men and women weeping afterwards. Relief for sure after what we had just witnessed. I felt like we played, but also just looking back on the last, 50 years, half century of futility. I'm exhausted. My voice is coming back, but it was like one of the best nights of my life. Forgive me.
It's amazing. And then the one play that I didn't mention in the intro was the blocked punt. That went right in the end zone, and the guy jumped on it. It was just unbelievable. Governor, your thoughts? Did you go to the game? How was it?
Oh yeah, Sage and I were at the. I hate to call it a pre-party because we all knew the enormity of what this game meant, so we didn't want to get ahead of our own skis there. But that was amazing. There must have been 1,000+ Hoosiers cramped into a hospitality. They call it paddock, and we were all. Exuberant, but we knew Miami has proven to be obviously the next best team making it through the gauntlet. I just heard, Fernando talking about trying to walk on there. I mean, think of what was going through his mind being from there. But that scamper wasn't just from 5 yards. I think it was from like 12 yards out because they had a penalty or something in there. And that looked, he was bouncing off of tackles, almost got tackled, went down without taking a knee, and then stretched across, in for that TD. And then, as Sage was talking about that interception, there was so much time left. It was reminiscent of the Ohio State game. I wasn't feeling comfortable there until there were about 40 seconds left. And that's almost identical the way this one ended up. And they were the two best teams in the tournament other than us. Ohio State and Miami. That was clear.
Miami played a fantastic game for the Hurricanes fans out there. They were scary. I mean, their defensive line was just unbelievable, and you could tell they really. I mean, Fernando he had to deal with a lot more than I think he was used to from the rest of the season. Sage, I got 30 seconds left here, really quick. Is Fernando the #1 draft pick? Does he go to the? Is it? I think the Raiders. Is that who's going to get him? What do you think happens?
Right now, that's what I heard all the talk about. Okay, with that performance, as if he needed more, but how gutsy, in particular, that play, diving over. When he was banged up, he was beaten up. The referees, well, leave that alone. But the character, along with the talent, to me, I'd be shocked if a team didn't take him #1 overall based on all the intangibles.
The intangibles. Wow, what a game! Hey guys, thanks for coming on. What a great night for the state of Indiana. Good to have you both here.
Okay.
Good to be here. Yeah.
All right. Good to see you. All right. Coming up here after the break, a race-baiting actress trying to keep the issue alive by telling a ridiculous and demonstrable lie. That's up next.
My mom would go, "Don't look, don't look, don't look," and she'd pull us away because there is someone hanging from a tree.
Don't kibble your dog.
Oh, hey, Dr. Marty.
Hey, Matt.
But what's wrong with this? It's premium stuff.
Let's check it out. It's still kibble, which means it's ultra-processed at extremely high temperatures that destroy the nutrients in the food. But at Dr. Marty, we gently freeze-dry premium meats, fruits, and vegetables, locking in their nutrients.
Never kibbled.
You got it, kid, and they're gonna love it.
AI can turn your lights on.
Lights on.
And drive your car. And even write your kid's essay
But AI ain't gonna fix your broken water line or pay for the big repair bill. Having a plan from HomeServe offers real solutions. And when a covered system breaks, we'll send a qualified contractor and pay for the repair. There's nothing artificial about the peace of mind you get with a plan from HomeServe. Getting one is quite intelligent.
Plans from HomeServe start at just $4.99 a month.
Call 1-844-752-2141 or visit homeserve.com.
The grind catches up with everyone, even me. That's why I trust Cunol Ultra High Absorption Turmeric to support my joint health. It's the #1 doctor-recommended form of turmeric. It helps you keep doing the things you love at every age. Cunol, the brand I trust.
For pain in multiple spots like here, here, or here, Salonpas patches stick firmly and remove comfortably once your pain is gone. Salonpas. It's good medicine.
When it comes to my daily heart health supplement, I've got 3 rules. It's got to be plant-based, it's got to be doctor recommended, and it's got to be Super Beets from Human.
Super Beets is the #1 cardiologist recommended beet brand for heart health support with clinically studied grapeseed extract for nearly 2 times more effective blood pressure support than diet and exercise alone.
Super Beets works. I swear by it, and I know you're going to love it too.
Try Super Beets today at human.com.
The poverty is unimaginable. There are people who are struggling.
This is where she washes the dishes.
If you're ever going to allow your Christian faith to rise and to do something for God's chosen people, now is the time.
This is the home of Galena. She's 96 years old.
This is what she had to eat for today.
She has 1 pot with water and wheat.
My father was killed by the Nazis, and I was an orphan. I didn't know about God. But now, in the cold, hungry nights, I pray for food to the God I've never known. There are good people that love you.
You see the tears. Scripture says joy can come in the morning, and you can be the reason.
If you will bless these hurting children of Israel, you will receive God's blessing in return. Your urgent gift today of $25 will help Rush, a survival food box filled with life-saving essentials. If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives. Call, scan, or go online now.
I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, I don't know how much longer she could have waited for us to come.
I can't even grow my food anymore. What will happen to me? I'm doomed to starve.
Tens of thousands of elderly Holocaust survivors in the former Soviet Union are living in extreme poverty, hungry, and forgotten. But through the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, we can bring them hope.
Eggs. It's my favorite food. May you be blessed.
You say to them, we see you and we're here to help.
If you call right now, your gift's impact will be doubled to help save lives.
Welcome back. Time now for news from the left. Actress Pam Grier doing some pretty serious race baiting on MLK Day, jumping on The View to help make sure that America's focus stays firmly on racism and division. Grier, born in 1949, deciding to make an outrageous and easily refutable claim. Take a listen.
We would go from, tree shade to get back to the apartment. My mom would go, don't look, don't look, don't look. And she'd pull us away. Wow. Because there is someone hanging from a tree. It triggers me today to see that a voice can be silenced. Mm-hmm. And if a white family supported a black, they're going to get burned down or killed or lynched as well.
That in the 50s, there's just people hanging from trees in Columbus, Ohio. Okay. According to America's Black Holocaust Museum, the last documented lynching in the state of Ohio was in 1911, nearly 40 years before Pam Grier was even born. Now ask yourself why anybody would make something like that up. It's dark. Next up, evidently Senator Bernie Sanders, who is Jewish, has been on the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum board since 2007 and has never attended a single meeting. Records supplied to the New York Post showing Sanders has missed every meeting of the board since his appointment in 2007. The council only meets twice a year, and he's never made it one time. Members of the board writing a letter asking Chuck Schumer to replace Bernie Sanders, but Chuck Schumer's a Palestinian, as Trump always reminds us. And then writing this, in addition to his absence, some of Sanders' public statements regarding contemporary genocidal conflicts, including characterizations widely viewed as inconsistent with the principles of the Holocaust remembrance and genocide prevention that the museum exists to uphold, have raised concerns. The point is this: Bernie Sanders is a Jewish senator, but he's also a communist. And I think what has to be remembered is that the communist side of Bernie Sanders is always going to trump the faith of Bernie Sanders. I think you see that time and time again with people that are on the radical left. And finally, kind of on the same subject, activists on Big Apple college campuses here in New York are among those in the U.S. who are peddling propaganda evidently directly from Hamas. The miserably woke Anti-Defamation League is once again calling out the cancer that they helped to create. Protesters and activists are not merely praising the activity of terror groups, they claim. They are actively sharing their official propaganda, disseminating communiques, videos, and other materials directly onto mainstream platforms. So the Anti-Defamation League and Greenblatt over there may want to stop pushing radical left-wing propaganda so often, because the end of Israel is so clearly the left's latest endeavor. So why is the ADL and Jonathan Greenblatt so situated among the radical left? Great question. Trump was very popular last night at the big game. It's up next.
I lost 110 pounds. You couldn't tell at all because of my excess skin. Sono Bello changed that in one visit.
Introducing the new Lift EX, the just one visit total body transformation everyone is talking about.
I am super happy with my results.
I decided to give Sono Bello a try. Look at me, I have a silhouette. You can see my waist.
Lift EX is Sono Bello's breakthrough 360-degree body lift alternative. Our body contouring experts sculpt, tighten, and lift your stomach, waist, thighs, and backside, all in just one visit with less downtime.
Sono Bello targeted the areas diet exercise could not do. I found me again.
Sono Bello has over 50,000 five-star reviews, and Lift EX is exclusively available at Sono Bello, America's #1 cosmetic surgery specialist. Book your free, personalized consultation today. Easy monthly plans make your best body more affordable than ever.
This year is my year thanks to Sono Bello.
Call Sono Bello for your free consultation today.
At Ancestry, we believe every question about the past is a spark. And when curiosity strikes about the everyday lives of your family, we're here with answers only your ancestors can provide. How is your family woven into 250 years of U.S. history? Find out now at Ancestry.
Why spend weeks and overpay for stone when you can get the same high-end look in just hours with GenStone? These easy-to-install GenStone panels give your home the look of real stone for about half the cost.
GenStone product I find very versatile, very affordable, very clean install to get the same finished look of a stone product. I think it's a fantastic product, and I don't see us going back to the traditional stone method anytime soon.
And now with the GenStone Visualizer, you can upload a photo of your home and instantly see how GenStone would enhance your home. Choose your perfect color and bring your vision to life, just like this project that started in the Visualizer and finished with a stunning transformation. Text color to 59583 to try out the Visualizer right now. Once you have your design, click Price Your Project, and our pros will tell you how much GenStone you need and even guide you or your installer through your project. Text color to 59583 to see GenStone on your home today.
And finally tonight, what a game last night, and the president got to watch it live from a suite. The national championship game, the fans went wild. Take a listen. So there it was. If you were watching on television, you could really hear the roar as the president attended the game and got to see Indiana. The alma mater finally has a football team, Rob Finnerty.
I mean,
it's been a long time.
Look, that must have been an unbelievable night to watch this. Were you ever nervous? They scored 2 touchdowns. It was close for like a moment.
I was terrified Miami was going to pull it off because Miami was a hell of a lot better than I thought they'd play. They were
pretty excited. So they're 16-0.
16-0.
Perfect season.
It's amazing.
How about that? Like the Patriots until they got to the playoffs. Congrats, Rob. Good to see you. Finnerty starts right now.